Toxic people often exhibit a range of behaviors that can feel overwhelming or confusing at first, but recognizing these signs is the first step toward protecting yourself. One of the most common indicators is manipulation. Toxic individuals tend to exploit others to serve their own interests, often disguising their intentions as concern or assistance. They might guilt you into doing things or twist situations to make themselves appear as the victim, leaving you questioning your own perspective. Being a victim in the relationship, even if it costs you what felt, recognizing this manipulation for what it is, can prevent you from becoming entangled in their web. Another clear sign is an unrelenting stream of negativity. Toxic people often focus on problems rather than solutions, spreading doubt, fear, or pessimism. They can drain the energy from a conversation or situation by constantly highlighting what's wrong without contributing anything constructive. You might notice that after spending time with such individuals, you feel emotionally exhausted or burdened by their negativity. This constant exposure to their bleak outlook can chip away at your own optimism. A lack of accountability is another hallmark of toxic behavior. Toxic people rarely, if ever, take responsibility for their actions. They deflect blame onto others, craft excuses, or outright deny their role in a situation. This refusal to own up to their behavior can leave you feeling frustrated and unheard. It's particularly dangerous because it makes genuine resolution impossible. You're left carrying the weight of the issue while they remain indifferent. And that is not a healthy way to live. And resolved to be the better person, you have to reject the idea of resolution impossible. You're left carrying the weight of the issue while they remain indifferent. Pay attention to how they handle boundaries, or more accurately, how they don't. Toxic people often disregard others' limits, pushing past what's acceptable or appropriate. They might invade your personal space, dismiss your opinions, or pressure you into doing things you're uncomfortable with. Their inability or unwillingness to respect boundaries is a significant red flag, as it often leads to a pattern of disrespect that becomes harder to address over time. Frequent criticism and judgment also reveal toxicity. While constructive feedback is healthy, toxic individuals go beyond that, using criticism as a weapon to diminish others. They may belittle your accomplishments, mock your ideas, or highlight your flaws in a way that feels cruel or unnecessary. Over time, this behavior can erode your self-confidence, making you question your own worth or abilities. This will lead to another sign to watch for is a pattern of creating drama. Toxic people often thrive on chaos, stirring up conflicts where none exist, or exaggerating minor issues to create tension. They might pit people against each other, exaggerate their hardships, or escalate disagreements unnecessarily. Their penchant for drama keeps the focus on them and prevents peace from flourishing, accusing each other of weaknesses that are really just efforts to flourish your own in their heart. You'll also notice a lack of genuine support or encouragement from toxic individuals. While they might appear friendly or helpful initially, their support often comes with strings attached. They might use your vulnerabilities against you or withdraw their support when it no longer benefits them. This conditional kindness can create an unhealthy dynamic, leaving you feeling unsupported or used. This proposition says, "You'll do anything you can for me. Make it clear to me why your support is important, or I will do anything." Lastly, toxic individuals often display an inability to celebrate others' successes. They might downplay your achievements, offer backhanded compliments, or shift the conversation back to themselves when you share something positive. This inability to acknowledge or support your happiness reveals their insecurities and their desire to keep others from outshining them. Recognizing this behavior helps you understand their true motives and avoid falling into their trap. Setting boundaries is essential when dealing with toxic individuals, as it helps protect your emotional well-being and maintain your sense of self. The first step is to identify what behaviors you're unwilling to tolerate. This requires self-awareness and a clear understanding of your own values and limits. By acknowledging what makes you uncomfortable or drained, you can begin to define the boundaries that will keep you safe. It's important to take time to reflect on these limits so you can articulate them clearly when the need arises. Once you've identified your boundaries, the next step is to communicate them effectively. This involves being firm but respectful when expressing your limits to the toxic person. For instance, if someone is consistently disrespectful or critical, you might say, "I won't continue this conversation if it involves personal attacks." Clear, direct communication ensures that your boundaries are understood without ambiguity. Say it's not about explaining or justifying your reasons, but about stating your needs with confidence. An essential aspect of setting boundaries is consistency. Toxic individuals often test limits to see if they can push past them. If you allow exceptions or fail to enforce your boundaries consistently, they may interpret this as a sign that your limits are flexible. Consistency sends a strong message that you're serious about protecting your space and will not compromise on what you've established. It also reinforces your sense of self-respect and strengthens your resolve. Boundaries often require you to say no, a word that many people find difficult to use, especially with those they care about. However, saying no is a vital tool in protecting your energy and prioritizing your well-being. Toxic individuals may try to guilt you or pressure you into compliance, but standing firm in your refusal is a powerful way to maintain your boundaries. Learning to say no without apology or over-explanation can be liberating and empowering. Another crucial element of setting boundaries is managing your emotional responses. Toxic people often provoke reactions to regain control or shift the focus back onto themselves. By staying calm and composed, you prevent them from manipulating your emotions or escalating the situation. Emotional detachment allows you to enforce your boundaries without becoming entangled in unnecessary conflict or drama, maintaining your control over the interaction. It's also important to recognize that boundaries are not about changing the other person's behavior, but about controlling your response to it. You cannot force a toxic individual to respect your limits, but you can decide how you'll react when they cross them. For example, if someone continually interrupts you during conversations, you might choose to end the discussion or leave the space entirely. These actions reinforce your boundaries and protect your peace, regardless of the other person's choices. Enforcing boundaries often involves distancing yourself from the toxic person, either physically or emotionally. This doesn't necessarily mean cutting ties completely, though that may be necessary in extreme cases. It could involve limiting the time you spend with them, avoiding certain topics of conversation, or keeping interactions brief and neutral. Creating this distance helps reduce their influence over your life and allows you to focus on your own priorities and growth. Finally, setting boundaries requires self-compassion and patience. Toxic individuals may react negatively to your limits, attempting to guilt, blame, or manipulate you into reverting to old patterns. It's essential to remind yourself that prioritizing your well-being is not selfish, it's necessary. Accept that enforcing boundaries may feel uncomfortable at first, but with time, it becomes a natural and essential part of maintaining healthy relationships and protecting your mental health. Drama often thrives on reaction, and toxic individuals are experts at provoking emotional responses. They use exaggerated conflicts, unnecessary arguments, and heightened emotions to draw others into their chaos. The first step to avoiding engagement is recognizing the signs of drama and understanding that not every situation requires your participation. Just because someone is stirring the pot doesn't mean you have to pick up a spoon. Just because someone is stirring the pot doesn't mean you have to pick up a spoon. Just because someone is stirring the pot doesn't mean you have to pick up a spoon. Choosing not to react is a powerful way to maintain your peace and disengage from unnecessary conflicts. Many people don't realize that they can and will. Toxic people often bait others with inflammatory statements or behaviors designed to elicit a reaction. They may say something offensive, spread gossip, or twist your words to spark a confrontation. In these moments, it's crucial to pause and assess the situation before responding. Ask yourself if the issue truly warrants your time and energy. By remaining calm and composed, you prevent them from gaining the control or attention they seek, effectively disarming their attempts to create drama. Another key to avoiding drama is setting clear emotional boundaries. Emotional boundaries protect you from being drawn into someone else's turmoil or emotional manipulation. For example, if someone continuously shares their problems without seeking solutions, it's okay to say, "I care about you, but I can't be your only source of support." Emotional boundaries help you maintain empathy without allowing yourself to be overwhelmed by someone else's negativity or neediness. Refusing to engage in drama also means not taking the bait of gossip or rumors. Toxic individuals often thrive on triangulation, pitting people against one another by spreading misinformation or encouraging division. If someone tries to involve you in gossip, a simple response like, "I'm not comfortable discussing that," or redirecting the conversation to a neutral topic can shut down the attempt without escalating the situation. You push people to the brink of disaster without escalating the situation and ultimately creating a situation where everyone feels on the receiving end of rumors and hostility until they reach the point where they know their rumors and hostility, release it, and move on with the message. I'm not comfortable discussing that or reaching a situation where all you hear is negative. If someone tries to involve you in their disputes and exploits your social limitation, pushes your boundaries, and turns into violence, you have no choice. Staying neutral and focused on facts prevents you from becoming entangled in unnecessary disputes. It's also important to avoid the temptation to win an argument with a toxic person. Toxic individuals often view arguments as a game, where the goal is not resolution but domination. Engaging with them in this way can quickly spiral into unproductive conflict, draining your energy and leaving you frustrated. Instead, focus on maintaining your calm and refusing to argue for the sake of arguing. Walking away or disengaging entirely is often the most effective way to protect your peace. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in steering clear of drama. When faced with a dramatic situation, taking a moment to center yourself can help you respond rather than react. Deep breathing, grounding techniques, or even stepping away from the situation can give you the clarity needed to handle the moment with grace. Mindfulness allows you to maintain control of your emotions, preventing the toxic individual from dictating the tone or outcome of the interaction. Maintaining a focus on solutions rather than problems can also help you avoid drama. Toxic people often dwell on grievances or amplify issues without any intention of finding a resolution. By steering conversations toward practical solutions or simply refusing to engage in circular arguments, you can minimize the chaos they attempt to create. If they resist this shift, it's a clear signal that their goal is drama, not resolution, and an opportunity for you to step away. Finally, surrounding yourself with positive and emotionally mature individuals helps create an environment where drama has no place. Toxic individuals are less likely to engage in dramatic behavior when they see it's unwelcome or ineffective. Building relationships with people who value open communication, respect, and kindness can reinforce your commitment to avoiding drama and inspire you to prioritize peace in all your interactions. Maintaining empathy while staying detached begins with understanding that empathy does not mean absorbing someone else's emotions or taking responsibility for their problems. Empathy is the ability to recognize and understand another person's feelings, but it should not come at the expense of your emotional well-being. Self-assembly is a living, driving force of within. When dealing with toxic individuals, it's essential to practice empathy with boundaries, allowing yourself to acknowledge their struggles without becoming entangled in their turmoil. One of the keys to staying detached is to recognize that you cannot fix or change someone else's behavior. Toxic people often thrive on eliciting sympathy to keep others invested in their lives. They might share stories of their hardships or portray themselves as perpetual victims. While it's natural to feel compassion, it's crucial to understand that their healing or change is not your responsibility. Maintaining this perspective helps you offer empathy without losing yourself in their narrative. Staying detached requires an ability to separate your emotions from theirs. Toxic individuals often project their feelings onto others, creating a sense of shared negativity or blame. For example, if they're angry or upset, they may try to provoke you into feeling the same way. Practicing emotional detachment means recognizing that their emotions are their own, and you do not need to absorb or mirror them. This separation helps you maintain your inner peace, even in challenging interactions. Empathy with detachment also involves listening without over-involving yourself. When a toxic person shares their concerns or frustrations, you can acknowledge their feelings without becoming overly invested in finding solutions or alleviating their distress. Simple responses like, "I understand why you feel that way," or "That sounds difficult," validate their emotions without inviting further emotional entanglement. My 2 cents for more patient people is that they feel less pressure to disengage themselves and worry about their emotional entanglement. This approach allows you to remain supportive without being consumed by their struggles. Another important aspect is setting limits on how much time and energy you devote to toxic individuals. Empathy can quickly turn into emotional exhaustion if you allow someone to dominate your mental or emotional resources. Establishing boundaries, such as limiting the duration of conversations or the topics you discuss, helps you preserve your energy while still offering compassion. These boundaries communicate that while you care, you also value your well-being. Practicing detachment often involves reframing your perspective. Instead of internalizing a toxic person's behavior or comments, try to view their actions as a reflection of their struggles, insecurities, or unmet needs. For example, if they lash out or criticize you, it's likely rooted in their own pain or frustration, not your shortcomings. This shift in perspective allows you to maintain empathy while protecting yourself from taking their behavior personally. It's also important to manage your expectations when dealing with toxic individuals. Recognize that they may not respond to your empathy with gratitude or positive change. Toxic people often have deeply ingrained patterns of behavior that are resistant to influence. By accepting this reality, you can offer compassion without feeling disappointed or frustrated when your efforts don't lead to improvement. This mindset reinforces your detachment while preserving your emotional balance. Finally, maintaining empathy with detachment requires regular self-reflection and self-care. Interactions with toxic people can be draining, even when you set boundaries and remain detached. Taking time to recharge, whether through mindfulness physical activity, or connecting with supportive individuals helps you stay grounded and resilient. Self-care ensures that your capacity for empathy remains strong, allowing you to navigate difficult relationships without compromising your well-being. When dealing with toxic individuals, focusing on their growth doesn't mean taking responsibility for their personal development, but rather encouraging a mindset that prioritizes self-improvement over conflict. Growth begins with recognizing that their behavior often stems from unresolved issues or unmet emotional needs. While this understanding doesn't excuse their actions, it allows you to approach interactions with a sense of compassion rather than judgment. This perspective can serve as a foundation for fostering healthier communication and encouraging change. Focusing on their growth involves encouraging self-awareness. Many toxic individuals are unaware of how their actions impact others, as they are often caught in a cycle of defensiveness or blame shifting. By calmly pointing out specific behaviors and their effects, you can help them reflect on their actions. For example, instead of accusing them, you might say, "When you say that, it makes me feel unheard. It makes me feel unseen. It makes me feel like an unwary burden. It makes me feel like a failure. It makes me feel like unworthy. It makes me feel like a failure." This type of non-confrontational feedback can open the door for self-reflection and understanding. Creating a safe space for accountability is another way to promote growth. Toxic individuals often avoid taking responsibility for their actions out of fear or insecurity. By maintaining a calm and non-judgmental approach, you encourage them to own their mistakes without feeling attacked. For instance, if they overreact to a situation, you can respond by saying, "It's okay to feel upset, but let's talk about how we can handle this differently next time." This approach balances empathy with a gentle push towards self-improvement. Patience is key when focusing on someone's growth. Change rarely happens overnight, especially for individuals who have long-standing toxic tendencies. It's important to manage your expectations and recognize that their journey will involve setbacks and progress in small increments. Acknowledging their efforts, no matter how minor, can reinforce positive behavior. When you stay with them, for example, if they handle a situation better than usual, expressing appreciation like, "I noticed you stayed calm this time and I really respect that," can motivate them to continue improving. Encouraging growth also means modeling the behavior you want to see. Toxic individuals may not have had examples of healthy communication, emotional regulation, or constructive problem solving in their lives. By consistently demonstrating patience, empathy, and boundary setting, you provide a living example of what positive behavior looks like. Over time, this modeling can inspire them to adopt similar habits, even if they do so subconsciously. It's important to support their growth without enabling their toxic behavior. Enabling occurs when you excuse, justify, or tolerate harmful actions out of fear of conflict or discomfort. Instead, focus on promoting accountability while maintaining your boundaries. For example, if they exhibit toxic behavior, you can address it respectfully and redirect the conversation toward constructive solutions. Importantly, later on in your relationships, if something is negatively impacting these people, then you can address it respectfully and redirect the conversation toward constructive solutions. This balance ensures you're contributing to their growth without compromising your own well-being. Another aspect of fostering growth is encouraging them to seek outside help if needed. Many toxic behaviors stem from deeper emotional or psychological challenges that require professional intervention. Gently suggesting therapy, counseling, or self-help resources can provide them with the tools to address their underlying issues. While you cannot force them to seek help, presenting the idea as a way to improve their own happiness and relationships may resonate with them over time. Finally, focusing on their growth requires detaching from the outcome. You can encourage, support, and model positive behavior, but ultimately their growth is their responsibility. By releasing the need for control or immediate results, you allow them the freedom to take ownership of their journey. This detachment not only protects your emotional health, but also reinforces the message that growth must come from within and cannot be imposed by others. Knowing when to walk away from a toxic relationship begins with understanding that your well-being should always be a priority. Toxic individuals can drain your energy, damage your self-esteem, and disrupt your peace of mind. Recognizing when the cost of maintaining the relationship outweighs the benefits is crucial. It's not about giving up on someone, but about protecting your emotional health and creating space for growth and positivity in your life. The decision to walk away often comes after repeated attempts to set boundaries and communicate your needs. If the toxic individual continues to disregard your limits, manipulate situations, or resist change, it becomes clear that the relationship is one-sided. Healthy relationships involve mutual respect and effort, and when these are consistently absent, it's a sign that walking away may be the best option. That's the truth. We live in a toxic environment. Walking away doesn't necessarily mean cutting off all contact immediately or permanently. In some cases, it may involve reducing the frequency and intensity of interactions. This could mean limiting conversations to neutral topics, spending less time together, or avoiding situations where their toxicity tends to surface. Gradually creating this distance can help you maintain your boundaries while assessing the long-term viability of the relationship. It is important to recognize the emotional weight of walking away. Toxic individuals often use guilt, manipulation, or fear to keep others tethered to them. They may play the victim, make promises to change, or attempt to shift the blame onto you. These tactics can make the decision to leave feel overwhelming or unfair. However, staying in a toxic relationship out of guilt only prolongs the harm and prevents both parties from growing. How many know walking away requires courage and self-trust? Toxic individuals may try to undermine your confidence, making you doubt your judgment or question whether you're overreacting. Trusting your instincts and believing in your right to peace and happiness is essential. Remember that walking away isn't a sign of weakness or failure. It's a powerful act of self-respect and self-care. It's also helpful to focus on what you stand to gain by leaving the toxic relationship. Walking away opens the door to healthier connections, personal growth, and renewed energy. When you're no longer consumed by the negativity of a toxic individual, you can invest that time and emotional bandwidth into pursuing your passions, building supportive relationships, and nurturing your own happiness. This perspective can make the process of leaving feel more empowering and less daunting. Surrounding yourself with a strong support system can make walking away easier. Friends, family, or professionals like therapists can provide guidance, encouragement, and validation during this challenging time. Sharing your feelings and experiences with trusted individuals can help you stay grounded and remind you that you're not alone in this decision. A supportive network reinforces your resolve and helps you navigate the emotions that come with walking away. Finally, walking away is not just about physically removing yourself from a toxic relationship, but also about releasing the emotional hold it may have over you. This involves letting go of resentment, anger, or regret, and focusing on your healing journey. By prioritizing self-compassion and allowing yourself time to recover, you can move forward with a sense of freedom and clarity, unburdened by the negativity of the past.